my BadBank application. This is a walkthrough, and I built this app for the MIT xPro full stack development course. Here is the home page, which you can see has a card with a little welcome message and information about the bank, which is bad because there is no security. I did change the card size from what was in the starter code. I wanted to make it larger to have it really pull the focus and be the main thing that you focus on since the home page is the first thing that you'll see when you're on the application, so I wanted it to take up more of the space. Up here is the nav bar, which you can see upon hover will change color whenever you hover on something. It will also highlight when you are on a certain link on a certain page. The only thing about that is once you refresh, as you can see here, it will no longer do that, and that is something that I struggled to figure out how to do. I have not been able to figure out how to do it yet, but it's something I'm going to keep plugging away at and hope to figure out in the future how to implement that so that it will stay highlighted. But as long as you don't refresh, for now it will highlight each link you're on. So this is the create account page, which has a disabled button, and the button remains disabled actually until you put an input in all of the fields. I chose to make it that way. You can try to put a password in that's shorter than 8 characters, but it will bring up that error message right here to let you know that 8 characters are expected. At this time, it will still let you make an account if you have less than 8 characters, but that's something that I will fix later on down the line as well, and make it so that the button will be disabled until you reach those 8 characters. But for now, you put in the 8 characters and then you create an account. An account successfully created message appears there for a short amount of time before it disappears. You can create another one. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in the same information, and I will show you if you take the name out and try to create an account that way, it will give you this error message stating that you need to put in a valid name. And the same thing will happen with email. I did have it that way with the password as well, but in some of the code that I changed, it does not do that right now anymore, so I have to go back in and take a look at that and figure out how I can get that to show the necessary message that it requires a password. But let's just do that. So we've made a few passwords now. If we go to the all data tab, you can see this user 1 is a default user that will always be here. I wrote the code that way, so these two are the ones that I have just added, that you've seen me add. The default balance for each account is $100, which you can see there on the cards as well. And another thing about the nav bar is that you will see these pop-up messages on all of them if you hover on them long enough, just to give you a little description of what you'll find on each page. So now the deposit link and page, here we go. So the deposit button is also disabled until you put something in. You can put $30 in and press deposit, and it will keep track and update the new balance according to what you deposited, and it will remember that on here and show your balance at the updated amount. You are not able to enter a negative amount. If you try, it will give you an error message and disable the button. You can add more. Now, something in the code that I did that I will have to look into and further investigate is you will have to click on the card itself before you press deposit. That's what gets the button to enable itself. It is keeping track there, as you can see. And you cannot enter an amount that is not a number. you can enter it, but it won't let you deposit anything. It'll bring up this error message, and it's actually the same with withdraw as well. So you can go ahead and you can withdraw 40 from the 100, which leaves you your new balance at 60. You cannot withdraw -10 because it'll bring you that. Do that to the button, and you can actually overdraw at this point, but it will bring you up an error message that you don't have insufficient funds available, so at least it warns you before you overdraft yourself. And it's the same here where you can't withdraw anything that is not actually a number. And you'll see here it's keeping track of the things that are happening on the page, and all of this keeps track until you hit that refresh again. So we've got everything here. So this is my BadBank application. I did not actually make a form component for this one. I had tried in the beginning, but I had a lot of trouble trying to get everything to work when I tried to implement a form component, so I actually had to just scrap that, and that is something that I do intend to plan to work on later on in the future, so hopefully I can get that to work. But for now, I'm happy with the functionality, I'm happy with what I learned while I was doing it, and I'm excited to continue to work on it and continue improving it. Thank you so much for taking a look at this.